We've got now keeping an eye on the Prime Minister's motorcade, seeing where that ends up and what's awaiting him at the end of it. We've got the co-leader, though, of the Green Party, candidate for the Mayor of London, Sian Berry, I think, joins me now from Westminster. The Green Party's performance, Sian Berry, you're treading water at best, aren't you?
No, our vote share's up around the country. It looks like we're set to about double our overall vote share versus 2017, and that reflects the positive campaign we put forwards, the ideas around investing in the country, remaining in the EU, the positive case we made consistently for remaining in the EU. But we're making gains in terms of vote share in Leave and Remain voting areas, and I think that shows overall the positive campaign that we ran and the hard work of many of our people.
OK, positive but costly. So far, you've lost your deposit in 326 seats.
So far, we've retained our deposit in twice as many seats as we did in 2017 already, just on the seats declared. OK, Sian Berry, we'll come back to you. We're going to Kensington now, I believe. We're showing... No,
Sian Berry, we're showing Caroline...
Pavilion.
We're showing you Caroline Lucas.
Let's see if she won.
I, Jeff Raw, Returning Officer, give notice that the number of votes for each candidate at the election of the Member of Parliament in the Brighton Pavilion constituency are as follows. Dobbs, Bob, Independent, 212. Furness, Nigel, UK Independence Party, 177. Hogan, Emma Louise, Conservative Party candidate, 10,176. Imam Kaur Adam, Labour Party, 13,211. Lucas Caroline, Green Party, 33,151.
Well, Caroline Lucas back there, Remain Alliance seat, no Lib Dem. Let's go to Kensington. There is a Lib Dem, Sam Gyimah. There's a Labour MP there, Emmett Dent Code. We are expecting this declaration. There it is. Let's listen. Some cheering. Well, a bit of a protest going on there. Let's talk a bit more then until we get the returning officer speaking there. One of those big gains from 2017 for the Labour Party, Emmett Dent Code. But, of course, this high-profile Lib Dem put in there. Sam Gyimah, former Conservative, left the Conservative Party, crossed the floor to the Liberal Democrats, and again hoping on some evidence of tactical voting. Let's see if they've split the vote and given it back to the Conservatives.
Electorate 64,609. Ballot papers issued 43,855. The turnout 67.88%. And I do hereby declare that Felicity Christiane Barnett is duly elected as the Member of Parliament for Kensington constituency.
What's this? OK, well, there, as we were discussing there, the Conservatives haven't got the numbers for you, have gained Kensington back from Labour. Emmett Dent Code gone. We need to see those numbers to see the effect that the Liberal Democrats had Sam Gyimah on that Remain vote, Remain leaning seat, a majority of just 150. There's the winning candidate.
Second election in a row that you have had to do a recount, so thank you. I would also like to thank my amazing team, my agent Greg Hammond, our chairman Andrew Foster, and every single individual who has worked so hard in Kensington. But most importantly, I would like to thank the people of Kensington who have put their faith and trust in me. I want to be the MP for the whole of Kensington, whether that be the north, the south, or the middle. I want to bring together our communities, and I have a vision that Kensington should be the best place in London to live, to work and to learn.
OK, there's Felicity Buchan back in Kensington for the Conservatives. A narrow squeak, but it seems that the Lib Dems and the Labour Party split the vote there, and the Conservatives getting back in there. Just want to say they're saying Crewe and Nantwich has gone. This was one of the ones we thought we would go, even if it wasn't such a good night for Boris Johnson. Crewe and Nantwich has gone.
It's a swing seat. It's
indeed,
a swing seat.
Again for the Conservative Party. But just let's have a think there about Kensington, John Bercow. And it seems there, they just, if they wanted to put a Remain alliance together, they didn't get their act together. And we've seen it in several other seats where they had some high hopes, those that wanted at least another referendum. And there's another Conservative getting back in.
Yes, I mean, it simply hasn't worked. And the attempt was made, but it's backfired, or at any rate, not succeeded. And as you say, a Conservative Member of Parliament has been elected for that constituency. I'm not quite sure, because we've not been given
No,
the
we
figures.
need to look exactly at the figures.
Who came second and who came third.
But it's also this idea of tactical voting. You read so much about it online. They were saying this time it's the dog that doesn't bark.
It is the dog that doesn't bark. And the other thing is the power of the party system as well. Because if you think about the way in which the tensions within Parliament split people from their traditional parties in the last Parliament, and you had so many of the defectors and the disillusioned go into other parties or stand as independents, and none of them have come through the other side. Anna Soubry gone, Chuka Umunna gone, Philip Lee, a Conservative, gone, Antoinette Sambach, a Conservative, gone, Dominic Grieve gone in Beaconsfield, and now Sam Gyimah, who was a Conservative,
who's
who went
left?
to...
I mean, I suppose Luciana. Who's left? Who's
Luciana, and
Berger.
I think Luciana might get that seat, so that is one to watch.
And
And if she does, she really could be in pole position to try and lead the Liberal
What were
Democrats.
the figures? Do we know what the figures were in Kensington?
But I mean, that will be a classic case of a split, the Remain vote splitting between Labour
and there's
the Liberal
there's the tail of the
Democrats.
tape so far, and we'll just concentrate very quickly on who's gained and lost. And the Conservatives have put on 37 seats so far, and Labour have lost nearly 50. Listen, we were talking about the Greens. I was talking to Sian Berry, who's kindly stayed on the line to reflect on, and I was saying, well, treading water was my phrase. And Caroline Lucas, we then interrupted you to go to that and some other counts. She got back in Brighton Pavilion
with an increased vote,
with an increased majority. So we'll give you that, but it doesn't look like you're going to win any other seats.
No, our target was Bristol West. We doubled our vote there. We came in a very strong second, but the Labour Party continued to hold that seat. We're in a very strong position there to carry on gaining councillors, and we've got an election for mayor in that city next year, where we've got an excellent candidate. So that's a very good springboard for that. But overall, across the country, we've seen strong support for many of our candidates. Some big swings to us. We've increased our vote by several times in some of the Unite to Remain seats. My colleague Jonathan Bartley has got a very strong second place in Dulwich and West Norwood. These are all places where we have councillors, and we're going to continue building up Green representatives who, when you get elected as a Green, you work hard and you get an increased vote, as we've seen from Caroline Lucas just now.
Something truly historic.
We're just going to have a listen to her.
I'm totally going to listen.
Yeah, let's have a listen.
In the darkness. And very finally, let me thank my amazing husband, Richard, my children, Theo and Isaac, for all of their love and support all the way along. Thank you.
OK, well, she's finished then, and delighted and delightful for you. Last question. I mean, you mentioned this, we're calling it the Remain Alliance. It was pretty feeble, wasn't it, compared to the Conservative Party and the Brexit Party? It was you in England with some of the Lib Dems, and in Wales with Plaid Cymru. I mean, you really had to get some kind of accommodation with the Labour Party if you wanted to make any inroads at all.
I think this election should be a wake-up call for the Labour Party that they do need to work with other parties in order to overcome the problems we have with the electoral system. It's pretty clear now that the two-party system is not serving this country. First past the post is not delivering votes that reflect the people's wishes, and we need to sort this out, and we should be getting together and working towards some kind of electoral reform in the next Parliament. But Caroline Lucas will be there in Parliament. She'll be putting forward our good ideas, making sure that there's a strong Green voice there, and being fantastic as she always is.
Yeah, I mean, I've just got to say that, haven't I? So Boris Johnson wins this large majority through the first past the post system and is therefore going to reform the voting system.
Yeah, I can't pretend that Boris Johnson being Prime Minister is going to be good for the country. We need to see the country renewed. He's not going to deliver that. Now he has to deliver on his election slogan, which he absolutely refused to come on and give details of and take scrutiny of. Get Brexit done. I don't think in a year's time we're still going to be mired in a Brexit mess. And I think he's got a very difficult job ahead of him.
Sian Berry, thank you very much indeed. Very quickly, John Burke.
Dermot, as you rightly say, in these circumstances, there's no way on earth the Conservative government is going to consider reforming the electoral system from which it very handsomely benefits. That isn't on the agenda. It doesn't mean that Sian isn't entitled to make the argument that she's made against it, but that is the reality. Just on a positive point, I would say that although it's incredibly difficult for one person on his or her own to make a great impact, Caroline Lucas, and I can say this from the vantage point of the chair over 10 years, has been an absolutely outstanding and indefatigable Member of Parliament. She's her own leader, she's her own chief whip, and she's ubiquitous. She's there all the time. She speaks in debate after debate after debate. She uses the procedures of the House to proselytise for her cause, and, you know, she really is a model MP.
OK, John, thank you very much indeed.